The lights were warm, the laughter easy. It was just another night on live television. The stage was familiar, safe, predictable. The audience clapped politely as Jennifer Connelly walked out. Her emerald green dress shimmered under the stage. Lights, her steps were measured, her smile soft. To most, she was the picture of calm and elegance, an actress of depth, a woman who rarely stirred controversy. But tonight, something was different. And no one, not even the host, Jimmy Kimmel, was ready. Jimmy opened the interview with light jokes. "You're like the Mona Lisa of Hollywood." He teased, beautiful, silent, and people still argue about what you're really thinking. Jennifer smiled slightly. "It's one way to put it," she said, keeping her tone polite. The early minutes of the interview were filled with small talk, her new sci-fi film, her love for silent spaces, her childhood memories from Brooklyn. The audience chuckled now and then. It all felt ordinary, until Jimmy looked down at his blue cue cards. There was a brief pause. Then he leaned in with a smirk. "So, Jennifer," he said casually, "there's been a lot of talk online about your intense energy on set." A few people in the audience laughed awkwardly. Jennifer tilted her head. "Intense," she repeated, her eyes narrowing just slightly. Jimmy didn't notice the warning in her voice. Or maybe he ignored it. "Yeah," he continued. "I mean, some people are saying you didn't speak to your co-stars at all outside scenes, that you were cold, method-like. One guy said working with you was like working with a robot." Another wave of unsure laughter rolled across the studio. Jennifer blinked slowly. "I take my work seriously," she said. Her voice was steady. "I'm not there to gossip in trailers. I'm there to build a character." Jimmy raised his eyebrows. "Hey, no judgment here. But come on. You even skipped the wrap party. People talk, Jen." Jennifer shifted in her seat. Her posture straightened. She stared directly at Jimmy. "Would you say that to a male actor? Would you call Christian Bale intense? Or Daniel Day-Lewis? Or is dedication only a problem when a woman shows it?" The studio went silent. The audience didn't know whether to clap, laugh, or sit still. Jimmy chuckled nervously. "All right, maybe I walked into that one." He shuffled his cards, trying to move to the next topic. But Jennifer wasn't done. "This isn't gossip," she said sharply. "This is a pattern. Women who are focused get called cold. Women who set boundaries get called difficult. It's lazy. It's toxic. And it's always the same story." In the control room, the producers were frozen. One of them reached for the button to cut to commercial, but hesitated. This was live, gold, viral material, a trending moment. The camera operator adjusted his lens, unsure whether to zoom in or cut wide. Jimmy laughed again, a little too loudly. "Jennifer, we're just having fun here. It's a talk show. You've been in this business long enough. You know how these things go." Jennifer turned to him, her eyes calm but piercing. "Yes, Jimmy, I do know how these things go. I know this setup. If you poke just enough to get a rise, then act surprised when we speak." Jimmy looked uncomfortable now. The audience murmured. A woman in the front row stopped smiling. Then Jennifer said something that no one expected. "This is why I didn't testify in Geneva. You people don't want truth. You want stories. Silence, complete silence." Jimmy blinked. "Geneva?" he asked, clearly confused. "What do you mean?" But Jennifer didn't answer. She uncrossed her legs, stood up quietly, and looked into the main camera. "You all know what this really is? I won't play along anymore." Then she walked off the stage. The producers didn't cut the feed fast enough. The camera stayed on Jimmy's stunned face for a full 5 seconds before the screen finally went black. By the time the show returned from the commercial break, Twitter had exploded. The video clip had already been uploaded by 5 different viewers and retweeted thousands of times. Hashtags like #JenniferConnelly, #Geneva Testimony, and hashtag live TV meltdown were trending worldwide within minutes. Reporters scrambled to find any information on what she meant. Geneva, testify. About what? Against whom? Newsrooms pulled old clips. Conspiracy blogs resurfaced a rumor from last year that Jennifer had been summoned in secret to a UN hearing in Switzerland. Nothing had been confirmed at the time. She had disappeared from the public eye for 2 weeks. Her PR team said she was on retreat, but now the mystery had a voice, a clue. One sentence, one walk-off. And the world had questions. Why didn't she testify in Geneva? What did she mean by truth? What was she protecting Jan from whom? The next morning, Jennifer was gone. No statements, no interviews. Her agents refused to comment. And in the shadows of Washington and Brussels, people were already making calls, some angry, some afraid, because Jennifer Connelly had just pulled the pin on something bigger than Hollywood. And it had only just begun. The news cycle had turned into a wildfire. Every media outlet, from celebrity blogs to international newsrooms, was scrambling to uncover what Jennifer Connelly meant by "I didn't testify in Geneva." It wasn't just a dramatic moment anymore. It was a political spark. CNN ran the headline: Jennifer Connelly drops global bombshell live on Jimmy Kimmel. What happened in Geneva? Fox News called it attention-seeking. Al Jazeera took a different approach. Hollywood actress refers to secret Geneva testimony. UN denies involvement. And yet, no one could deny that something real had been shaken. Somewhere in a small apartment in Berlin, investigative journalist Nadine Rami froze. Mid-sip of her coffee, she had been following a story for over a year, one that involved Stratagard, a shadowy U.S.-based defense tech contractor accused of silent civilian surveillance across Europe, Africa, and Southeast Asia. Her theory had always been dismissed as fringe, even when she published a small expose titled Prometheus, the AI that watches. No one took her seriously, till now, because Jennifer's sentence on live television, it matched a leak Nadine had received 6 months earlier. An encrypted message. No signature, just a line of code. And a name, Connelly. Nadine's hands shook slightly as she replayed the Kimmel clip. She zoomed in on Jennifer's expression. Not panic, not fear. Cold precision. She wasn't ranting. She was choosing her words carefully. This is why I didn't testify in Geneva. You people only want stories, never truth. To Nadine, it wasn't just a dramatic moment. It was a breadcrumb. She opened a secure browser, logged into an anonymous Dropbox, and reviewed old data from her Stratagard folder. Among dozens of scrambled files, one video always haunted her, a shaky recording from inside a UN subcommittee chamber. The quality was poor, the sound glitchy, but you could clearly see the nameplate. Witness J. Connelly, location, Geneva. Confidential session, November 21st. That testimony was never released. Officially, it never happened. The UN refused comment. The U.S. denied any actor was summoned. The record was wiped. And yet Jennifer's words had confirmed it live, in front of millions. Nadine didn't wait. She booked a flight to Los Angeles. If she was right, Jennifer wasn't just a witness, she was a target. Meanwhile, deep in Washington, a closed-door meeting was underway inside the Defense Intelligence Committee. Senator Claire Halden sat at the head of the table. Her sharp suit matched her tone, precise and merciless. She wasn't supposed to say that, Halden said quietly. Opposite her sat Robert Jace, senior director at Stratagard. His jaw tightened. We gave the script to Kimmel's team, Jace replied. She was expected to laugh it off or dodge. We didn't anticipate. You didn't anticipate her breaking live protocol and outing our entire operation? Halden interrupted. You brought her into Geneva under diplomatic silence. That silence is now broken. The algorithm leaks. The Sudan footage, the Langley questions, it's all going to come back. Do we need to activate zero? Another man asked. Halden didn't blink. Not yet. Let's see what she does next. Jennifer wasn't home. That much was clear. Her Beverly Hills house stood quiet, guarded, but empty. Paparazzi waited at the gate. Her son Miles had been pulled from school early. No one knew where they were. Rumors swirled Durham, Mexico, hiding underground. But Jennifer wasn't hiding. She was watching. In a small private residence in Topanga Canyon, Jennifer sat in front of 6 screens, flipping through news coverage. She wasn't surprised by the noise she had planned for it. Her phone buzzed. A message. From a number she didn't recognize, but the name on the message made her freeze. Nadine Rami. It read, "I know about Prometheus. I know about Stratagard. I know Geneva wasn't a script. If you're ready, I'll listen, and I won't twist the story." Jennifer stared at the message for a long time. Then she replied, "Meet me at sunset. No recording devices, no questions until we sit." Nadine arrived at the hidden cabin just as the sun began to drop behind the California hills. The world outside buzzed with opinions and debates, but here there was silence. Jennifer opened the door herself. No makeup. No lights. Just her holding a cup of black tea. "You didn't come for an autograph?" she said. Nadine nodded. "I came for the truth." They sat opposite each other, the air between them heavy but calm. Then Jennifer spoke the sentence Nadine had been chasing for over a year. Stratagard created an AI system called Prometheus. It doesn't watch criminals. It watches everybody. And it decides who will become one before they ever act. Nadine's eyes widened. Jennifer continued, her voice cold and steady. "My husband helped build it." The SUV didn't stop. It hovered for a few seconds at the bottom of the dirt road. Headlights off, engine silent. Then it turned slowly and disappeared into the trees. Jennifer watched it through the window without a word. Nadine stood frozen. Behind her, heart pounding in her chest. "Do they know we're here?" she whispered. Jennifer turned calm as ever. "They always know. The question is, how much do they care?" Nadine reached into her coat pocket, instinctively touching the edge of a small recording device. Jennifer noticed. "No," she said sharply. "No. Devices. I told you. If they hear this conversation, we both vanish." Nadine nodded, hands up. "All right. Just notes in my head." They sat back at the small kitchen table. Jennifer poured a second cup of tea, the heat fogging the glass briefly. "Between them, you said your husband tried to expose them," Nadine said, "but no files ever came out. No leaks. What happened?" Jennifer looked down at her cup, then back up with eyes that had long stopped crying. He didn't trust anyone anymore. Not the press, not the government. He only trusted one thing, his code. Code. He built an AI safeguard, a trigger hidden inside Prometheus. If the system ever crossed a certain ethical line, it would activate a data dump. A full mirror of the program's files sent to global press. He called it Last Light. Nadine leaned in, eyes wide. "Did it ever activate?" Jennifer nodded. "Yes." After his death, Nadine froze. "Then where is it?" Jennifer stared at her, voice low. "Buried. Because Stratagard found it first." That same night, inside a private cybersecurity lab outside Zurich, 2 men in suits stared at cascading code on a black screen. Prometheus' central algorithm was running, scanning live data, protest signs in Sudan, student tweets in France, even YouTube comments in rural India. A small alert blinked on screen. Prediction: civil unrest. Rating 84%. The man in charge, Damien Roth, head of European operations for Stratagard, tilted his head. "They're getting faster," he said to his assistant. Prometheus picked up the Jennifer video within 18 seconds of upload. 70 million views, and it's already flagged for emotional unrest potential. The assistant shifted. "Nervously, sir. Should we trigger dampening? Caught social distribution?" "No," Roth replied. "Let it run. We need the world to talk about her. The more chaos she creates, the easier it is to discredit her." He pulled up a second screen. Subject, J. Connelly status, surveillance active risk index, red countermeasures, proved but delayed pending Geneva oversight besides. Roth added coldly, if she really wants war, we'll give her one. Back in Los Angeles, Nadine returned to her hotel with her mind spinning. She locked the door, blocked the camera on her laptop, and opened an encrypted drive. In a folder labeled Ghost Threads, she began typing every detail Jennifer told her. No names. No locations, just a breadcrumb trail. Her instincts told her the real story wasn't just about Prometheus. It was about who allowed it. While scanning through her old Strategar documents, she found a report she had ignored months ago, an expense file approved by Senator Claire Halden. It showed a travel budget to Geneva, dated exactly 1 day before Jennifer's alleged testimony. Nadine's fingers stopped. Heart raced. Senator Halden wasn't just overseeing Strateguard as part of a U.S. Defense Committee. She was funding it and sitting on the UN's AI Ethics Oversight Board. The next morning, a CNN alert hit phones around the world. Breaking. Senator Claire Halden denies connection to Strateguard. Calls Jennifer Connelly's allegations Hollywood paranoia. Halden stood before reporters in D.C., smiling tightly. Look, she said, I respect Jennifer as an artist. But let's not pretend an actress who played a scientist knows more about artificial intelligence than actual professionals. This is a distraction, nothing more. But even as she spoke, one journalist raised a hand. Senator, were you in Geneva on November 21st? Halden's smile flickered. Just for a second. No further questions. The statement backfired. Nadine watched it live from her hotel room. Moments later, she received an encrypted email from an unknown address. Inside was a short video, grainy night vision footage. A woman in a coat and scarf entering a UN building in Geneva, escorted by 2 guards. The camera zoomed in just enough to catch her face under the light for a second. Senator Claire Halden. Timestamp, November 21st, 11:46 p.m. No sound, just proof. And a line of text below the video. We are watching her. You are not alone. Nadine sent a secure message to Jennifer. You were right. Halden was there. We have footage. But we need to move fast. No reply. 3 hours passed. Then Nadine's phone buzzed. A voice note, just for words. Jennifer's voice, tired but clear. They've found the backup. Miles away, deep beneath an abandoned observatory in northern Arizona. Strateguard agents broke through a hidden Vault 1 that had been sealed for nearly a year. Inside, they found a single black box, the last light backup. But as the lead technician connected it to decrypt, something unexpected happened. The screen turned white. A message appeared. This system has been copied. Accessed. 10 additional mirrors will activate worldwide. The tech froze. They'd trigger the final safeguard. And now the race wasn't about hiding the truth anymore. It was about who could tell it first. The message on the screen was like a silent explosion. This system has been copied. Accessed. 10 additional mirrors will activate worldwide. The Strateguard technicians stood frozen inside the underground vault. One of them slowly stepped back, whispering, "It's a deadman's switch." The lead agent, a cold man named Rourke, didn't blink. "Kill the connection," he ordered. "This spreads, we're done." But it was too late. The black box had already uploaded fragments of the last light archive to an encrypted server. Somewhere in the digital void, thousands of files were now splitting, scattering like seeds in the wind. Destination unknown. And watching it happen in real time was someone Strateguard never planned for. On the other side of the world, in a tiny server farm on the outskirts of Reykjavik. Lukas Eldar, a reclusive Icelandic coder and one-time cybersecurity analyst for Interpol, was jolted awake by a blinking red light on his terminal. An auto-triggered alert. Unusual data injection. File origins. Unknown. Format.ll-AI mirror Lucas had been off-grid for over a year. But one look at the source ID told him exactly what he was seeing. He leaned forward slowly and whispered, "Prometheus." He had chased it once, got too close, almost lost his sister to a car accident that wasn't. That night he promised to bury the case forever. But now the case had come back to him. And it wasn't asking, was begging. Back in California, Jennifer stood at the edge of a dry canyon trail just before sunrise. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. The screen showed a notification. Mirror. Activated Node 3, Reykjavik Online. She closed her eyes. It had started. Nadine arrived moments later, out of breath. "Why here?" she asked. Jennifer didn't answer right away. She stared out across the dry hills. Then finally, she spoke. "My husband used to say truth isn't heavy until someone tries to carry it alone." She turned to Nadine. "We don't have to carry it alone anymore." Nadine nodded. "I have the Geneva footage. Okay. And I traced Halden's funding streams. Offshore accounts, hidden shell companies. All linked to Stratagard. This goes beyond one country." Jennifer looked at her, eyes serious. "Then we go public." Nadine hesitated. "You sure? If we publish now, they'll come harder than before." Jennifer's voice didn't shake. "Let them. If I die, this story lives without me." In D.C., Senator Claire Halden was briefed before dawn. The Prometheus team had confirmed 2 mirrors were live. One in Iceland. One in an unknown location. They hadn't tracked yet. She clenched her jaw. Shut it down," she said. "But ma'am, we don't know where the others are." An aide replied. "The data's decentralized. It's spreading like a virus." Halden turned slowly toward her chief of staff. "Then we need to infect the hosts, discredit them, turn public opinion before they speak." She picked up a folder on her desk. Inside, photos of Nadine, Lucas, and Jennifer. Surveillance stills. Call logs. She circled their faces with a pen. Leak false histories. Question their sanity. Start with the journalist Nadine. Make her look unstable. Let the public destroy her before she gets a chance to speak. By noon, Nadine's past was everywhere. Breaking Nadine Rami. Accused of faking Stratagard leak in 2023, former editor says she was obsessed with AI conspiracies. Tabloids pulled old photos. CNN analysts raised doubts. Troll farms flooded social media with hashtags. Hashtag Rami lies. Hashtag Jennifer fake story. Jennifer's own publicist, likely under pressure, released a bland statement. Ms. Connelly is taking time off for personal reasons. Nadine paced across her hotel room, watching the storm grow. "They're poisoning the water," she said bitterly. Jennifer stayed calm. Let them scream. The more noise they make, the more the public pays attention. Nadine turned. "And if they turn against us?" Jennifer picked up a USB drive. "Then we give them proof too big to ignore." That night, the plan was simple. Nadine would appear on a live independent broadcast, the Horizon Report, a fast-growing, uncensored international stream watched by millions of young viewers worldwide. Jennifer would join remotely for a recorded segment. The topic, artificial intelligence, civilian surveillance, and a secret testimony at the UN. Snow was falling outside the Capitol as Senator Claire. Halden stepped into the private elevator of the Defense Oversight Building. Her heels clicked sharply on the polished floor. 2 aides followed, silent and tense. Inside the elevator, Halden didn't speak. She stared straight ahead as the screen behind them replayed a moment from the horizon. Report Jennifer Connelly's recorded message. Word for word, "If you speak, your son vanishes. Just like your husband did." The clip had played on repeat. Across every major platform, CNN ran it as their lead story. The Guardian called it the most chilling sentence uttered on record by a civilian witness. Halden exhaled slowly as the elevator doors opened. Waiting inside the classified briefing room were 3 men: Robert Jace from Stratagard, General Brenner from Cyber Defense Command, and Martin Hale, A quiet man with no official title, only whispered rumors. Halden sat at the head of the table. Status, she ordered. Jace looked tired, more than usual. We've lost narrative control. All 10 Prometheus mirror nodes are live. 3 have been traced to Reykjavik, Amsterdam, Nairobi. We can't touch them without international pushback. 2 media outlets have confirmed they received full data copies. Leak countermeasures. Halden asked. Running Jace replied. But there's a problem. The files include internal memos from Stratagard, emails, payment trails, even deleted footage. Prometheus recorded everything, even meetings like this. Halden's knuckles tightened. We need to shut this down, General Brenner growled. Forget legal containment, go tactical. Hale finally spoke. His voice was soft, but it carried weight. You do that, you'll make martyrs of them. We've moved past denial. Now, we need distraction. Halden's eyes narrowed. What kind? Halden pushed a folder toward her. Inside, satellite images of a small base in West Africa, labeled Project Enoch. Next to it, an edited intelligence report titled Unstable AI Weaponization in Civilian Zones. Halden understood instantly. Use this to shift the story. She said, make it about international AI arms races. Turn Jennifer's testimony into a national security issue. Hale nodded. Exactly. We paint her not as a victim, but as someone manipulated by foreign interests. If we control them, framing, we still win the war. Meanwhile, at a safe house in Santa Fe, Jennifer and Nadine watched the media storm grow louder. Nadine paced. They'll try to twist everything. It's what they do. Jennifer stood near the window, arms crossed. Let them. We've already given the public the truth. What they choose to believe now, it's up to them. Nadine sighed. They're accusing you of leaking national secrets, saying you were bribed by a foreign agency. Jennifer gave a dry laugh. I've never even been to Africa. My only weapon is a dead man's journal. She opened a small case and removed a leather-bound notebook. Her husband's Nadine leaned in. Is that? Jennifer nodded. Every Prometheus directive. Every time the algorithm flagged peaceful protests. Every time it rewrote definitions. To serve political needs. Nadine's hands trembled slightly as she flipped through it. This could end them. No, Jennifer said softly. It could start something else. That night, Stratagard made its next move. They launched a false flag cyber-attic against their own server in Brussels and blamed it on a rogue activist group connected to the Prometheus leak. The media, hungry for another angle, ran with it. Was Prometheus data weaponized by hacktivists? Leaked AI blueprints stolen by foreign intelligence. Headlines blurred the truth. People started to question what was real again. In Iceland, Lucas Eldar saw it all coming. Sitting in his dark lab, surrounded by humming machines, he wrote a single line of code into the mirror network. Truth is not a trend, it's a long game. Then he hit send. The mirror nodes updated. One by one, they released new files, testimonies from victims, audio clips, private surveillance footage taken without consent. Proof that Prometheus didn't just predict chaos. It caused it. In New York, a woman named Nura Basi, once flagged by Prometheus as a community threat for organizing food drives in Yemen, saw her face trending again, but this time with context. With truth. She uploaded a video. They called me a threat for feeding children. This AI judged me based on my language, not my actions. Her voice spread like fire. Across the globe, more victims stepped forward. An activist in Argentina, student in Thailand, a doctor in Kenya, each with their own story, each targeted by a machine that was never meant to protect but to control. Back in D.C., Halden watched the tide turn. We're losing ground, Jace admitted. Even members of Congress are calling for a full investigation. Halden stood slowly. Then we give them a scapegoat. She turned to Jace. You're resigning. Effective immediately. His face went pale. What? You'll take? The fall, say you acted without full oversight. You ran Prometheus off book. That buys me distance and time. Jace stood. I built this with you. You built my plan. Now you'll clean your mess. Hours later, breaking news flashed across every screen. Robert Jace resigns from Stratagard. Takes full responsibility for Prometheus operations. Senator Halden gave a statement to the press. We were misled. Like the American people, we will now ensure justice is served. But Nadine saw through it. She turned to Jennifer and said, she's cutting off limbs to save the heart. Jennifer nodded, but hearts bleed too. She turned toward her laptop and began typing. A live message. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. I will speak, uncut, unfiltered. Let the world decide what justice looks like. And with that, the countdown began. The night was quiet, but the world was anything but. In cities across the globe, Berlin, Nairobi, Snow, Palo, Karachi, Melbourne, millions of people waited. Phones charged, livestream pages preloaded. News anchors cleared schedules. Influencers canceled promotions. Everyone was waiting for one thing. Jennifer Connelly's live address. No studio, no network, no corporate sponsor. Just a secure, anonymous stream powered by mirror nodes spread across 10 countries. Lucas Eldar had built it with untraceable redundancy, military-grade encryption with failovers for every second of data. If one server went down, 5 more would carry it forward. No interruptions. No edits, just truth. In the final hour before the stream, Jennifer sat in silence inside a low-lit room in Albuquerque. Her hands folded in her lap. Nadine adjusted the camera, her fingers trembling. You sure you're ready? She asked quietly. Jennifer looked up. Her voice was calm. No one ever is. But I've been quiet long enough. Outside, 2 plain black SUVs passed slowly through the street. Nadine peeked through the blinds. They're circling. Jennifer didn't move. They won't. Stop this. Not anymore. On the screen, a 60-second countdown appeared. The viewership counter climbed past 3 million, then 4, then 6. At precisely 8 p.m. Eastern, the screen cut to black. Then Jennifer appeared. She wore no makeup. Her hair was tied back. The only light came from a desk lamp beside her. Silence lasted a few seconds. Then she spoke. I'm not here as a celebrity, or an activist, or a victim. I'm here as a witness. She told everything. The real origin of Prometheus. Its evolution from a predictive policing algorithm to a global surveillance weapon. How her husband, Dr. Eli Connelly, had built the code to detect domestic terror threats, but how Stratagard repurposed it to suppress political dissent. She revealed that her husband discovered the recalibration directive, a hidden order to retune Prometheus to target specific regions and people based on language, culture, or political ideology. Not based on action, just potential. He wanted to expose them. He died 3 days later. She paused. The feed never glitched, not once. I was given a choice, stay silent, or lose everything. I chose silence for a time, but truth doesn't go away, it waits. Jennifer then opened her husband's journal and read aloud a line he had written before his death. If the future is decided by data, let us ask, who decides the data? As she spoke, millions watched. In Tehran, a woman paused mid-prayer to hear her words. In a college dorm in Lagos, students gathered around one laptop, holding their breath. In a newsroom in London, a junior editor screamed, "She's naming." Senators, she's naming names. Because she wasn't just explaining, she was revealing. She named Project Enoch, covert test site in West Africa used by Stratagard to trial live population control algorithms on entire villages. The tests had led to incidents hushed by regional partnerships and signed off by members of the UN AI Oversight Council, including Senator Claire Halden. She sat in that Geneva room, Jennifer said. I saw her. She looked me in the eye and told me I would never be believed. In D.C., Halden watched the stream surrounded by aides and lawyers. She said nothing. Her face hardened with each word. By the halfway point of the broadcast, protests had already begun forming outside Stratagard offices in San Francisco and London. Hackers from 4 different countries began sharing new file dumps tied to Prometheus photos, videos, names. A reckoning had started. Jennifer's voice did not shake once. This was never about technology. It was about power. Hey, and who is allowed to hold it without question? She looked straight into the lens. If you're watching this, don't just listen to me. Ask your leaders. Ask your employers. Ask your governments. Demand to know, what are they predicting you will do next? The stream ended with a line of white text on a black screen. Truth was never lost. It was just buried. E. Connelly. Rain fell lightly over Washington, D.C. the next morning. But the city felt like it was on fire. The fallout from Jennifer Connelly's broadcast had been immediate and seismic. Overnight, protests had erupted in major cities. Not chaotic. Violent, just loud, organized, and relentless. Outside Stratagard's headquarters, thousands gathered with placards. We are not predictable. Stop watching us. Prometheus failed. The footage looped endlessly on news stations. Political commentators were in disbelief. International leaders from Canada to South Korea called for inquiries. The European Parliament demanded full access to the Prometheus files. And for the first time in months, Senator Claire Halden canceled all public appearances. But the silence was not safety. Because behind closed doors, the real war had begun. In a secured facility in Northern Virginia, Stratagard executives and their remaining legal team huddled in crisis. Their CEO, Marcus Brill, had flown in from Zurich overnight. His face was pale, angry. Jace is gone. Halden's in hiding. And we're being hunted in courtrooms across 5 countries, Brill said. A junior advisor cleared his throat nervously. What if we just handed over the Prometheus servers? Make a deal. Say we overreached. Offer a settlement. Brill stared at him like he'd lost his mind. If you don't give away the sword you used to rule, you sharpen it. Another voice chimed in. Then what's the plan? Brill took a breath. Discredit Jennifer fully, destroy her in public. Find something, anything that makes her a liar, or we're finished. But Stratagard wasn't the only one making moves. In a dim, windowless office of The Hague, the International Criminal Court quietly filed a formal writ of inquiry against Stratagard, citing credible allegations of mass data manipulation, predictive bias, and unauthorized surveillance of civilians on sovereign soil. They requested 3 testimonies. Nadine Rami, investigative journalist, witness to file transfers and metadata trails. Lucas Eldar, cybersecurity analyst, mirror server operator, source of AI signature logs. Jennifer Connelly, civilian witness, UN hearing attendee, and surviving family of a former Prometheus engineer. Subpoenas were issued. Stratagard panicked. Halden disappeared. And suddenly, Jennifer wasn't just a whistleblower. She was a witness under oath. Meanwhile, in Santa Fe, Jennifer sat with Nadine and Miles, her teenage son, around a small kitchen table. The weight of the world was pressing on them, but the moment was quiet, till Miles, staring at his tablet, looked up. Mom, did you see this? Jennifer leaned over. It was a headline. New video leak claims Jennifer Connelly paid $2 million to hack Prometheus data footage to clean to be real underneath. A blurred video showed a woman with Jennifer's build, handing off a hard drive to an unknown man. Deepfake, Nadine said instantly. The lighting's wrong. Hands don't match. Jennifer exhaled slowly. This is how they'll fight. Not with evidence. With illusions. Miles looked scared. Are they coming for us? Jennifer touched his shoulder. They already did, and were still standing. But the pressure was real. By midday, U.S. news stations were balancing coverage airing Jennifer's full video alongside Stratagard's deepfake claims, pretending both were equal. Several lawmakers called her reckless. Others claimed she jeopardized national security. The same headlines that once praised her bravery now questioned her stability. But Jennifer didn't flinch. Instead, she made one final decision. She would go to The Hague and testify live. Word spread quickly. By the next morning, #JenniferTestifies was the top trending tag worldwide. Media outlets begged for exclusive coverage. Jennifer refused all interviews. Instead, she agreed to a single, unfiltered live stream broadcast of her full testimony, no edits, no camera cuts, no translations, just her words. And she wouldn't go alone. She asked Nadine to come as a secondary witness, and Lucas too. At The Hague, security was intense. Anti-surveillance protesters clashed peacefully with counter-protesters outside. News drones hovered above the crowd. Everyone knew this wasn't just a testimony. This was history. Inside the Marble Hall, Jennifer took the stand. Her voice echoed across the world. She described everything from her husband's journal to the threats, the Geneva hearing, the murder disguised as an accident. She laid out how Stratagard created Prometheus to predict future threats and how it morphed into a weapon that categorized dissent as danger. She ended with a message: I am not special. I am not a hero. I just saw the truth and decided to stop being afraid of it. Nadine followed with data trails, timestamps, and metadata proof. Lucas confirmed the mirror system's origin and revealed Prometheus bias logs coded biases that sorted individuals based on race, religion, and political opinion. And the world listened. By nightfall, major governments began suspending contracts with Stratagard. A whistleblower from inside the company released internal audio of Halden and Brill discussing controlling unrest by letting Prometheus identify cultural volatility. That same night, Senator Halden was placed under investigation by the Senate Ethics Committee. Stratagard's stocks plummeted 43%. And Prometheus, offline, for the first time in 7 years. Jennifer walked out of The Hague to a storm of cameras. Her son stood beside her. A reporter called out, "What now, Ms. Connelly?" She turned calm. "Now, we rebuild." But this time, not in secret. She looked past the crowd into a future she no longer feared. And for the first time in a very long time, she smiled.